a recap of what happened regarding the Republican Party of Arkansas State Convention. Just welcome to all my new followers. This will be kind of more of a video for later on, but I decided just to do this on my spur of the moment. In a nutshell, what happened was there were more conservatives than Rhino establishment supporters at the convention. However, the conservatives there didn't quite have the organization and to get the right procedures done regarding any kind of significant changes. There was one rule change that the Rules Committee pretty much had to do because so much political pressure has been put on to do that, and that was you had to be a registered Republican to vote to run as a Republican. Should have never been a problem, but of course it had been. It had been actually debated in the last convention, and the RPA Executive Committee had ruined that. But any other changes of any significance were not allowed. It simply wasn't, and the regular agenda that the establishment wanted was forced through. Once that happened, there really was nothing to do except for certify the elected officials and then pretty much adjourn. I think that was about the only thing that happened. Now, I won't share this near as much as the other thing. This will become a video for later. Some important highlights that took place. Of course, it took forever to vote in people because the Republican Party of Arkansas staff and the leadership did a horrible time trying to. They started about 30 minutes late, just to waste the clock to spend more time. Then there was confusion as to just about everything. They had to, what was it? Certain delegates had to be counted up. Then there was a certain number. Delegates weren't seated. There were several committees that weren't seated. I think, I forgot how much. I want to say that there was a little over 600 people at the previous convention. And you would think, well, the Republican Party likes to grow. There are only 580 at this one. And I have to look at the exact number of how many people attended the last convention. And there was even confusion regarding guests, because well, that shouldn't be on, because the system said no guests, but then there were guests allowed. Michael Wickline, the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, was a guest. Ben Gilmore, a state representative, or was he a state senator, whose county was not represented, was also a guest. There was an incident where a 13-year-old girl who was originally allowed to be a guest went to use the restroom. When she came back, she was blocked by none other than Brian Lester of the Rules Committee, who was also apparently deputized to be a door guard. And then Drew Martin had to come in and inform Mr. Lester that, yes, it was okay to let the 13-year-old girl in back into the room where they were having the convention. Then there was Wayne Beach, who was trying to be a reporter with Salem Media. He wanted to come in and talk a little about, see what was going on, but he was not allowed onto the floor. So all this garbage about rules, and we have to follow rules, and if you don't follow rules, things could fall apart. Doesn't really matter when the establishment doesn't like it. So after that situation, well, there was a vote for a temporary chair. That ended up being, let's see, gosh, now I can't remember who it was, Sharon Wright. And then there was a Virginia, I forgot her last name, for secretary. I'm just going to set this down, no need to have it up. And then they, of course, tried to seat several of the counties. There were 27 counties, a record number of counties, that were not allowed to be seated. And it looks like the reason it was done was because the RPA deliberately made no real effort to try to inform people of what they had to do regarding conventions. And then, of course, again, if the establishment didn't like a committee, then the rules were strictly enforced against them. And in some cases, over-enforced, like in Lawrence County. And as explained before in a Conduit article, it turns out Washington County had rules over-enforced on them. So trying to get to where y'all can see me. It's usually better if you can see someone. So, folks, the sad thing is most people who would love to be involved in the Republican Party are getting burned out because the consulting class do this type of stuff, and people decide they don't want to be part of anything that's going to cheat them out. They don't want to spend, in this case now, it's $30 to attend a convention, only to be told, oh wait, something went wrong. Your chair made a mistake, but all the delegates have to suffer, or there's confusion, so we're just not going to allow any more rule changes. That kind of stuff has been happening for some time, and it's resulted in people just giving up. And of course, when that happens, of course, Democrats can come in and take over. By the way, because of this type of behavior, there has been an increase in the number of Democrats. Democrats have actually won 2 seats. I thought I had changed the description for this, but apparently I did not. And if I lower the live stream, it will suddenly, I think it'll jam on me if I lower it. I may lose signal here in just a little bit, so that's kind of what I wanted to say here. And so this kind of stuff is the reason why a lot of people are burning out. The good news is because of the efforts we've had, we have forced some reform. I don't want to leave all with doom and gloom. We forced them to actually require people running for office as a Republican candidate to be registered as a Republican. But other than that, the conservatives got their chair in place, Clay Hooton. They got their secretary in place, Virginia. I can't remember her last name. It's kind of, it's like it's some kind of starts with an L, but I don't want to try to pronounce it. It doesn't matter. But in the effort to try to make any real reforms to where the state convention could be something that we, the people, could have a say over the Republican Party, nothing really happened with that. And a lot of people are disappointed. There's lots of reasons why it happened. But suffice to say, the consulting class types, Chris Caldwell, Chase Duggar, Kevin Crass, Belinda Harris Ritter, of course, Chairman Wood, who once again, he didn't even bother to try to run for chair because people are sick of him so much. And another guy, Jordan Powell, and other folks like them who are intellectual cowards who look down their nose at conservatives and think that they're only useful for free labor, and who deliberately rig these events to make it as difficult as possible for conservatives to participate in. They overall won out. And if you're upset about what's happening with the Republican Party, why they're not standing up to things like data centers, why they really won't make a real effort to stop things like the Muslim community that's being established in Little Rock, why they're letting city and county races be won by Democrats, You can look to those cowards. Side note, one of the other things I witnessed when I was outside of the convention room, Mr. Jordan Powell kind of made a snide remark about me when they had pizza delivered by French Hill, saying, "I'll eat French Hill's pizza, not vote for him." What this coward didn't bother to research and didn't know is that years ago, I phone banked for French Hill. I not only voted for him, I volunteered for him. But instead of, saying, "Hey, how are things going? How do you feel?" Or maybe even thinking, "Hey, you volunteered for French Hill before, why do you not support him now?" Or even asking. And by the way, I've never really made public how I feel about French Hill. I did vote for his opponent in the primary election, but that doesn't mean that I would vote against him in the general. But this coward, Jordan Powell, just assumed that. And I just walked away because, of course, I had my mouth full. And that's the kind of attitude these cowards have. And until people like him are removed from the Republican Party, it's not really a Republican Party. All the stuff they have on their platform, all the prayer and the pledge, and the supposed support for veterans, they don't really believe in it. It's just empty words. For disenfranchised to be able to speak at this convention on, oddly enough, which happened to be D-Day, but I'm sure there was some. And of course, let's not forget, Caldwell set up the group Arkansas Conservatives to slander a veteran named Brian Norris during the Secretary of State race, calling him a radical leftist. Other people were slandered, being accused of being agents of communist China. All kinds of garbage was thrown at them. So, this video if I can. That's the kind of issues that we are dealing with as a Republican Party, and the sad thing is it probably wouldn't have mattered anyway, because the executive committee would have probably done the same thing they did before, which was just nullify anything that they didn't think the convention did correctly, even though they don't have that power. They probably would have done that anyway, and then the RNC would have sat there like cowards and let them get away with it, just like they did in the last convention. But it's still upsetting, and it's causing a lot of people to burn out, people who volunteer their time. And of course, a lot of people have been kicked out by these same cowards. Probably the most successful chair in Republican Party of Arkansas history, Barry Edgars, kicked out over a fake rule regarding inactive members. Lori Justice, another hard worker, also kicked out, similar situation over the same stupid thing. The Saline County Republican Committee, that was completely dissolved and has been replaced with a bunch of yes people for the establishment. And that's the kind of cowardly crap that's being done by the consulting class within the Republican Party. So that's kind of my little rant about that issue. Follow me at Just the Right Angle. I'll post another link that should have a different link to the actual live stream of the whole event. It goes on from, I think 9 a.m. or 9:30 a.m. is when I started it. And gosh, I can't remember when we ended. I want to say 3:30, several hours of live stream there. And I'll try to do is post highlights of some of the events that happened. I had with my camcorder. But just wanted to give that rant for folks, a little breakdown of what happened at the Republican Party of Arkansas State Convention. Try to stay involved. There are organizations to join: Republican Patriots of Arkansas, Conduit News, Secure Arkansas. Donate your money to those organizations. Do not donate to the Republican